Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking About the Who. My name's Paul, and today I'm joined by three Who-tastic guests to discuss the new Who Are You Super Deluxe edition. Well, I say new; it's been out about 4 weeks now, but that's new, isn't it? So we've got from the Fisher Protocol. We've got two members of the Fisher Protocol. In fact, we've got Betts Crockett. How you doing, Betts?
I'm all right, Paul. Glad to be here.
Oh, glad to have you here. And he's not been on here for a while, but it's great to have him back. We've got Ethan Fisher. How you doing, Ethan?
I'm keen as gravy to be here
Don't you mean
because,
keen as mustard?
well, it's Thanksgiving week when we're recording this,
Yeah.
so keen as gravy.
No, that's fair enough. And we've also got the author of the Who album by album and guitarist in tribute band Who's Next, Dante DiCarlo. How you doing today, Dante?
I'm very good. I'm as keen as ketchup. Gotta go
Oh,
in the between gravy and mustard.
I do have to say I really like the Colin Dawson interview was really amazing, and I really enjoyed it. That's where I first heard keen as mustard, so it's like the saying. So
oh, thank you. I'll take that. Yeah, it was great chatting with Colin and someone. I've got to be completely honest. I didn't even know he was alive at the start of this year, let alone being able to actually talk to him. So
Yeah.
and just his life in general outside the Who was kind of fascinating.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
mm,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's a good plug for the podcast. Go and check out the Colin Dawson interview. Um, but today we're here to talk about this thing, the Who
Look at that.
Super Deluxe Edition. Um, so yeah, we did an unboxing video with Matt Kent a few days before the box set came out, but I thought we'd do this video a few weeks after release so we could kind of have time to sort of take the box set in, give it a few listens. I've probably not listened to it as much as I'd have liked to have done, but I have listened to it a couple of times, and I think you guys have as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's just a kind of overview of the box set, going through it disc by disc, talking about the things we like, talking about a few of the things we don't particularly like, and there is one huge anomaly that we're going to have to bring up at some point that we've discussed amongst ourselves, but it's too much of an anomaly not to be mentioned. But we'll come to that a bit later.
Yeah.
Um, all right, let's go disc by disc. Let's start with the actual album. Who Are You? That's disc one. Still getting used to trying to show things on camera and get the
You
angles
never
You got to
right
know.
put
and
your hand
everything.
behind it like a beauty influencer. You got to do this. So, okay.
Oh, what like that? Oh, that actually,
Okay. Yeah. Hold one hand and then put your hand behind it.
what?
Okay.
I'll never be an
Like
influencer. How about
I'm
just
literally
hold it
the
right
only
up to the
one.
screen?
I want to be honest and say I really didn't listen to like the first disc too much. I listened to it once because I've heard it, and I didn't listen to too much of the last live sets. The last Kenny, I listened to a couple of things, but I've heard all that stuff like a lot. So
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I'm not sure we'll touch on the last disc, the PCM stereo and the Dolby Atmos mixes, although we could touch on it briefly if anyone's got any thoughts on it. But yeah, I've not really listened to the first disc, which is just the album itself. But it's probably a good place to start because myself, Ethan, and Betts did a video earlier this year about the Who Are You album.
Yeah.
Um, and we went through it. That's on the Fisher Protocol channel, and put the link in the description. But that was sort of track by track analysis. Um, so maybe we'll start with you, Dante, with the actual album itself. What first of all, what are your overall views of the actual original album? Let's start there.
Yeah, like my opinion of Who Are You is sort of like changed a little bit. Like when I first got all the Who albums, was never like crazy about Who Are You. I thought it's like a really, good album. But out of all the Keith Moon ones, apart from kind of like a quick one and maybe My Generation, it probably was one of I preferred the run from Sell Out to By Numbers. But over the years, I've got to really like a lot of the songs on Who Are You that I used to overlook before. And I like it even more now through hearing a couple of the extra kind of tracks that will come to later, like a couple of the alternative versions and stuff like that. And I kind of figured out something about why. I wasn't as keen on Who Are You initially. But it's got some great songs on it and some songs that I always liked. And one of the things I always liked about it is that I felt like John really wrote some great songs on the album. Particularly, I know we've had a thing about Had Enough, but it's just a good song. I just feel like Trick of the Light and particularly 905 for me are like absolutely choice John cuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing I like about Who Are You most is probably John like really stepping up as a contributor on the songs.
Yeah, you're right. They are particularly strong Entwistle songs. So Ethan and Betts, when we talked about the album, I think all of us were fairly positive about it.
Hmm.
But Betts, let's come to you first. So has your view of the album changed in any way from listening to the box set?
Not really. I'm one of the, I'm a nerd and a dork, and so people can bully me, but I really love Who Are You? And I know a lot of people don't, but you have to understand that was my second Who album because it was kind of contemporaneous with about the time that I came. Its issue came out about the time that I was getting into the Who. So when I play these songs, they're like old friends. I go, oh hey, Um, so hearing the different takes and that kind of thing for me was just more icing on the cake. I enjoyed. I know it's a cursed record. I know that it was a band in disarray, uh, a band that was deteriorating in a lot of ways, and it was not. It was a very fraught time for them to record it. But for me, I just love it. It's I don't want to say it's a cozy record for me, but it is a record where like when I hear it, I'm just happy to hear it, and it boosts my spirit. So hearing the process, as fraught and unhappy as it was, I still enjoy hearing it. That's me. I will say something though. I don't know that I addressed this in the Fisher Protocol episode that we did, but went back, and went to Tony Fletcher's Moon biography, and I know that at some point he said like the reason why "Who Are You" was kind of a mid record was because of so many John songs on it.
Who said that?
Tony Fletcher in his book was like, yeah,
Uh,
like it wasn't a great record, and the reason, well, not he didn't say the reason why, but it was sort of like the indicator was there were so many John songs. And like I said, that will not do.
I mean, I disagree with that, but I think just to give Tony a bit of back him up a little bit, I think he's such a Pete guy that it's probably the fact there's
And in
not
his
enough
defense,
Townsend on it rather than there's too much Entwistle, maybe.
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe he was kind of saying it's like Pete didn't have enough good songs. That's what
yeah,
otherwise, like as good as John's songs were, he wouldn't have
yeah,
got three songs because Pete would have gone, no, I've got all these great songs. I don't care how great your songs are.
right. Yeah, in his
But
defense, like I said, it wasn't something I went back and looked at. It was just something that stuck with
yeah.
me for the last 20 years.
Tony, if you're watching, do get in touch at the usual address. Um, Ethan, what about you? Has your view of the album changed in any way?
it hasn't really changed. My relationship is still the same. On our video, I did, and what, just so people don't have to go watch that, but they should. Um, I like the album. Uh, I do like it very much. It only has one like pure skip on there for me, which is Love Is Coming Down. Okay, which is not a surprise to anyone, Bets. It's not a surprise. Um, but also has some of my favorite Who songs ever, which is like 905 or Sister Disco, or and we'll get into it later, like the endlessly listenable Who Are You? It's endlessly listenable. We'll get into it, but some of the best stuff is that knocking it into shape stuff later on. It's like
Mhm.
I could just, especially with the stuff like the remix versions that are on like Psycho Derelict and things like that. It's like it's 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 the hotness, right? It's the fire, right? But after I said Love Is Coming Down was my least favorite, I went into it talking about the Who Live Patreon chat, and I heard one of your guests reference my video and say that they really like Love Is Coming Down. I forgot who said it. Drummer. I'm sorry if I forget your name, but I listened. I really took that to heart, as I always do, and I listened to Love Is Coming Down, and I really, really tried on this.
Mm.
And for the first time in my life, I can actually remember the song without having to listen to it first. I can hear it in my head, and I just don't like the song. So, uh, my relationship to the album itself, those tracks, that first set of tracks, has not really changed at all. In fact, it's made me appreciate some songs more after I heard what the respectable Mr. Johns did to them.
Yeah, I think for me, I think Music Must Change still feels like the song that lets the album down only because there's no drums on it. I think that is the only reason for me. But I've found I've got a new appreciation for guitar and pen I never had before, and I think that's just from listening to this box set, and also "Who Are You" itself, the song. I don't know how many times it appears on the box set, but it's definitely the thread that runs through probably every
Oh yeah,
disc. But you really
yeah.
do see the evolution of the song, which I think is really interesting. But maybe we can go a bit deeper into that as we go along. So let's. You just mentioned Mr. Johns. Let's go on to. There we go. And whatever am I supposed to do with the other hand? The Glyn
Yeah.
Johns mix.
Yeah,
This
put one
too.
hand and then put one hand behind it.
Okay, I'll learn that for next time.
You will.
Um, yeah. So the Glyn Johns mix. Dante, do you want to sort of kick us off with this one? Your overall thoughts on it? Anything you particularly
Yeah,
like? Anything you particularly don't like?
I've got to be honest here. You know, I might have to hand this over to everyone else because I did have a brief listen to it. I couldn't really hear much difference, to be honest. And a few people have said this. Like, I didn't hear anything that was like shockingly different. And there were a few things that I thought about. For instance, like I remember not initially being a huge fan of Sister Disco, but I do think it's a really good track. And I remember, which is on this box set, with them rehearsing it with Kenny. And the sort of synth is a lot less prominent on that. And I really liked that. I think like the synthesizer is a little bit like overpowering, in my opinion. And I was kind of hoping like maybe the mix would be like a little bit less synth heavy. But I didn't notice too many things that were actually different. Some of the other tracks on here, some of the bonus tracks though, with Pete's guide vocal. Now this is where things have changed for me a little bit because with something like even New Song, I didn't initially like really warm to New Song as a track. And I think it's because it's got that very sort of like new 80s kind of it's like moving towards the 80s Who with the synthesizer. Even though the beginning of the track, the kind of the rhythm of it and everything reminds me a little bit of Bellboy. When the track starts off, if you start singing "The beach is a beach where a man, you know, beach is a place where a man could feel." If you start singing the lyrics of Bellboy, it fits over that beginning of New Song. Um, but hearing Pete sing it, I just prefer him sing that to Roger. And there's nothing wrong with Roger's voice, but I just think it suits Pete more. And particularly guitar and pen, which again, like you said that Paul, that that's not. I think you said it's not a track that you initially like warmed to. But hearing Pete sing it, it sounds like something that could be on Empty Glass, and I think it just fits Pete a little more. And I think part of the reason why I sort of took longer to get to like Who Are You was that it just maybe felt a little bit strange to me, Roger singing a couple of these songs. So I really, really like the guide vocals with Pete singing New Song and Guitar and Pen. Um,
It it it's such a personal Pete song that I see your point because
yeah,
the lyrics he's writing are as a leader of a band, very specifically in the position he was in it, you know. So yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I think just to say, guitar and pen is always something I liked, but I think I've just got that new appreciation for it. So I just like it more
okay,
than I
yeah,
used
yeah,
to. Because I
Yeah.
did kind of think, is it one of the weaker tracks on the album? And it still might be, to be honest. But I think, yeah, I just like it a little bit more now. Um,
yeah.
yeah, Ethan, let's come to you. Anything in particular about this disc that you stands out for you?
Well, I listened to this whole box set like at least once, and then I went back. This is a big box set, right? And certain songs you're like you can't really like, oh, I don't want to listen like Guitar and Pen. I'm not going to listen to like that four times in a row, which maybe you could for like Who Are You different versions to compare. Um, So I really need to dive into those guide vocals. But the two that really stood out for me are 905. That's when I like knew that overall the Glyn Johns disc can go in the trash, basically. Because like my favorite part of that song is those compressed guitars that pop up like right away
Yeah.
that are so evident in a lot of John stuff, which is kind of shocking when you first hear it because he's a bass player and you don't expect to hear this nice chorusy Peter Frampton-esque 12 strings, right? Um, and I love that about 905. It's one of my favorite all-time songs. So for the first thing me to hear is that Glyn Johns turned those down. I got really mad. I got big mad. But then like on Sister Disco, I feel like you can hear the bass and drums like kind of more working together in the mix and the synth turned down a little bit. And so I really like that about Sister Disco. So that's my absolute best and absolute worst from this disc.
Yeah, one thing that was interesting from the "Who Are You" listening party at Dolby in Soho that I was fortunate enough to be at, when they did the Q&A and Stephen Wilson was part of the panel, he made the point that for his Dolby Atmos mix, he actually made a point of turning the guitars up on the album in general because he said the synths were just a little bit too prominent.
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Bets, what about you? What are your feelings on this
The
disc?
Glyn Johns stuff. I didn't hear much of a difference, and I don't know how much my knowledge of what happened during the recording colors my perception of the Glyn Johns mixes. But I know that Glyn did not stay to complete the record because he and Roger had a disagreement, and Roger punched Glyn Johns, and Glyn Johns packed up his shit and left. Um, Understandably so. Um, so obviously there must have been some kind of disagreement about the mix, and for me, I felt like the vocals felt off, maybe because I'm so used to Roger's regular vocals. So yeah, the vocal mixes seemed strange to me, or different, so maybe that was the only thing that I saw that was entirely different. And like I said, again, my knowledge of the circumstances under which it recorded probably colored that a little bit.
You know, I read that last night. I read Matt Kent's wonderful notes. Thanks to him for
Mhm.
sending me those. And he told the story. And, Roger's basically like, yeah, I punched him. He called me a C word. Sorry. Sorry, English people. I have a little trouble saying that word out loud. And it seems like there was a real like difference there in like the recording process after that happened. Like Glenn
Yeah,
started to show, and if I were him, I don't blame him at all. Started to like, it
whittle
wasn't a
that
straight,
dial down.
a little, yeah, no, but just like literally, like he started to like not show up, and then all of a sudden he was
Yeah,
not there. And then at the end, they gave it to him to mix, and it was sent to them. From what I can tell, this is conjecture, sure, but Roger was like, "Fuck that guy," right? And like, we're not doing that mix. I don't know what the merits of that were or not.
yeah,
And John was doing fine. So it seemed like that incident colored the whole mixing in the last part of the album,
yeah,
which makes sense to me.
And it seems to be that it was like the incident where they got in a scuffle, and I think he headbutted him as well, was due to Sister Disco and possibly one of the other tracks, and they'd been one of the tracks with orchestration. And I've actually got to say, as another point, that I've got a new appreciation of Had Enough,
yeah,
and without the I think I kind of do prefer it without some of the orchestration on there. Um, and with Love Is Coming Down as well. I mean, I got to go with you a little bit, Ethan. That I kind of like that was a track that took me a long time to remember like what it sounded like, and I don't think it's a bad track, but it's kind of like one of Pete's musical theatre kind of tracks. Like he wrote several of these over the years where I thought that would be really good in a stage musical, but it's just like an odd fit for the Who.
yeah.
Guitar to Pen
Uh,
is like that too. You can like see like
yeah,
Roger in a tuxedo on a stage singing it almost.
In that, getting to Guitar and Pen, the Pete vocal one, Did you all do this when he gets to the point where it's more of a tune and he blinks, he doesn't do it.
He
And I'm
doesn't do
like,
it, yeah.
no, and I'm like, man, come on, man. That's the part that we all love the most. So give it up to Roger, the theater kid, for throwing that in,
Yeah.
If Pete just doesn't, he fails to launch on that. And I'm like, God dang it.
Yeah, I mean, I do, like I said, I do prefer Pete. I think it suits Pete more, but I do like
Yeah.
the fact that Roger puts that bit in, and
Yeah.
one wonders if that must have been his idea then, I guess, because it's not on the guide vocals. So.
Having heard Betty Townsend, like that's kind of what she sounded like too.
I kind of
she was
thought
she was not what I expected at all.
Maybe it was too close to home for Pete. He couldn't assume the voice.
Well, he's got to go home to her.
I kind of heard it that he did kind of do the voice, but just nowhere near as much as Roger did it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did kind of hear it there, but
Okay.
maybe again, maybe
Uh-huh.
my it's coloured by the fact that I know the original so well. I
Yeah.
don't know, but
I had my notebook and my pen, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Oh.
Well, I mean, I know we talked about this on the last one, but it's worth mentioning now. Like, Pete gave an interview once where he was describing his later relationship with his mom, and he said he played her Sunrise, and she was like, "That's very nice, dear." Right?
mm,
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely some like, and he was like, "I just wrote Sunrise, and I played it, and I sent it for you." Like, you know, come on. And she's like, it's great. So I
Yeah.
don't really know that relationship. Like, it just seems indicative. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
assume that line was sort of like related to, perhaps that incident or just in general. Yeah, it does. It's a funny line.
Yeah.
is that why maybe Empty Glass isn't on the album? Did Pete play it to Roger and he said, oh, "Yeah, it's very nice, dear."
yeah, great. You think if they really wanted to get under each other's skin, they would say shit like that to him?
Well, remember, what was it? Queenie Entwistle told Pete that, yeah, your songs are all right, but John's. I think she and Allison both told him, like, yeah, John's songs are way better than yours, dude.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a conversation to be had, isn't it? At some point, maybe. I guess we're kind of having it now, but
Nobody appreciates Pete.
And
no,
for all as much as I love like John Entwistle's song bets, don't come for
Uh-huh.
me, don't at me. John didn't write like Who Are You's, right? That wasn't his
Hmm.
thing. So
Yeah.
like as much as I love 905, one of the reasons I love 905 is because it's a John song and it's one of the best John songs. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen every day. So
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know, I do believe the reason why there's more John songs on this album is because Pete didn't have enough songs. Like I think that's true. Like
Yeah.
we can hold space for two things at once. Songs can be great, really like them, but maybe either Pete was holding back or you know whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like I think Rough Boys, Roger wanted to do that song, but Pete refused to change the lyrics. And we talked about this before that I had heard in a Discord chat that Too Late the Hero was mooted as a song for this record, but I don't know that there's a Who version of that.
That's an insane timeline that I don't want to
It
live
is.
in. All right.
Actually, there's a bit in the book in the box set where it mentions some of the songs that Pete brought in, and apparently "Keep on Working" was also another one, which had obviously, and there is a
Oh,
version of "Empty Glass" that the Who did, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. I can't really imagine "Keep on Working" as a Who track, and I can't imagine it. I mean, could have been a track that Pete sang because Pete doesn't have from the 9 tracks, Pete doesn't actually have a lead vocal. It's one of the few Who albums that he doesn't.
Yeah.
So, maybe one of the other tracks would have been a Pete vocal. And there are
Mhm.
other ones that are outtakes as well.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, Pete had songs, but I guess he's just moving towards that period where they're just maybe not suitable for the Who or seen by certain people. suitable.
Yeah.
And when I do listen to Who Are You, the first sort of couple of tracks are a bit strange, and then you get to 905, and that sounds like the old Who. It's got a much more kind of like, it's got that Pete guitar sound on it. Sounds like
Yeah.
his Gretsch, and the synthesizer's a bit more kind of, it's less clean.
Hmm. I know that when this record was criticized for sort of being a more AOR record than punk new wave, which Pete was clearly into at the time. And Pete claims that, these were the songs, I brought all these songs in, and these are the songs the other three chose. So blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Well, let's go on to disc 3 and talk about the John Entwistle demo of it all. I guess we'll start with you, Bets.
Well, okay. What I found really interesting was that several, what was it? Wild Horses Wild Horses and Back on the Road Again both appear on the Whistle Rhymes disc. And we have a show, Ethan and I have a show on that one. We haven't put it out yet. Wild Horses is called Countryside Boogie on the Whistle Rhymes disc. That's a fun one. That's all about being a tax exile. That he was not he's saying, I'm not a tax exile. I'm going to stay in England, because a lot of British rock stars like Ringo Starr and stuff, they were leaving for Monte Carlo or California so they could be tax exiles. And John's like, I'm not one. I'm so proud of my country. I'm so proud of this. And then of course by the 80s he was a tax exile in Ireland. But yeah, it's called Countryside Boogie on the Whistle Rhymes discs. And Back on the Road is one of those songs that I wish it had kind of blown through it had breached containment of the demo stage, because what a great song. I mean, this is a guy who, unlike Pete, who didn't really like being on the road, John lived for it. And it's one of those rare, sincere songs that John does. He doesn't do too many of them. Usually there's like, some kind of little joke or whatever. But I'm also looking for my other. I just love Back on the Road. And like I said, again, I feel like it should have been able to make it to a record. It just didn't do it. Good Time Coming. To me, it sounded a lot like Trick of the Light. Very late 70s rock and roll. It would have been a cool song for the Who to have performed. Again, and I detected a little Elton John influence in there. I don't know. That's in my notes.
Is that Good Time Coming something that's is this the first time that's been released, or has that been available?
Has to have been. I have never heard it. That was a brand new one for me. I've heard the other ones, but that was a brand new one for me.
Do you want to say anything about No Road Romance while we're on you on this disc?
Okay. Is this the part where I cry? I talked about this on the show that we did on Fisher Protocol. This is a side, when I hear Who Are You, because I'm so used to that disc reissue that happened in the 90s, my brain immediately jumps to No Road Romance. Again, this is another song that I felt like should have made it to a record. Probably it would have fit pretty well into Empty Glass, in my opinion. And it's like how John's got Back on the Road. I can't wait to get back on the road. Can't wait to do my thing. No Road Romance is almost the flip side of that. And it's Pete talking about just how awful the road is, and how like you've got these random hookups, but you're falling into this sort of pit of despair because, all you can do is think about how your kids don't know you, which is something that Pete actually experienced, coming home from a tour and his kids don't like know him, and how traumatic that must be. So yeah, a really good, comparison to Back on the Road, No Road Romance. I promise I wouldn't cry, because the song is very, very emotional and very emotional.
I don't know if I said this on the Fisher Protocol video, but I do wonder what Who Are You would be like as an album if you replaced Music Must Change with No Road Romance. Yeah, it was quite a...
I'm trying to replace one of my favorite songs. Stop it.
But then you could put Music Must Change on Face Dances,
Yeah.
and have Kenny play on it.
Yeah, so that'll have two good songs. Okay.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you're going with me on that one. Ethan, what are your thoughts on disc 3?
I kind of skipped the stuff that was on the CDs already.
Mm.
Lost First Mix, I always like to hear that. That's fun. On the Who Are You, John and Cyrano's mix, kids, it says it's from the Kids All Right. I didn't know that when I first heard it, and when I first heard it, I thought, oh, is this the video from the Who's Better, Who's Best video? Because when the piano jumps out, they have a shot of Pete playing the piano, and the piano's turned up in the mix. So when I heard that, I was like, I wonder if that's that. And I looked it up. Yes, it is. I was very excited for being smart that day. And the only other thing I had to say about 905 is where's 503? Release the 503 cut. Like, this is the 503 cut. She's been erased from history. This is whitewashing. This is male, right? Like, you guys listened to the 905? The demo? There's a whole other character in there.
Yeah, there is.
Free.
And they look just like me.
Right. And this is ridiculous. The Lord says a man make a wife. Like, this is some crazy stuff. Like, we need more 503. I want that song. That's it. That's all I have to say about the disc.
I mean, yeah, that demo made me think I'd quite like to hear a John Entwistle album that's purely synthesizers. I think that'd be quite interesting.
It really made me think about the comic book I got with that $300 box set, and how I probably could have used $100 less on that box set and not have that comic. It really made me think about the Who and the science fiction. It's not good.
Let me say this too about 905 real quick. Did you get like did you get like an R2D2 kind of vibe from all that?
Oh my God. Chris Entwistle, you need to sue George Lucas for right now.
Was John a Star Wars guy? I mean, this is my great eternal question is always, did Keith Moon see Star Wars?
He had to have.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, I've never considered that before, but yeah, that is quite a question.
I wake up late at night. Did Keith see Star Wars? The timeline should be right. How could he have missed this? The biggest movie on the world that year.
But seriously, as an aside, do we have any like evidence? Like, they talked about, did they really go into going to see movies, or what movies they saw, or?
Yes. Okay, so I know some things. Okay, so first of all, getting to Star Wars, Chris talks about how John at Christmas time one year gave him like every Star Wars character, every Ewok village, everything. I mean, hopefully he still has all that stuff because it's worth a fortune now. John was invited to 2 movie premieres, Back to the Future, and he took Chris there, and then they partied all night, and they went to Stringfellows, and Chris actually had a Stringfellows card, and then Chris had to go to the school the next morning. And then he was also invited to the premiere of The Naked Gun. And then Keith went to the premiere of the ABBA movie. And then I found out later, Pete was also at the premiere of the ABBA movie, but he must have been like, he took one of his daughters, and she must have been like, Daddy, is that the guy from your band? And Pete must have been like, get down, I don't want him to see me. But yeah, they both went to the ABBA premiere.
And we all know they were forced to sit through Tommy, so rough.
Yeah, John didn't go to one of those premieres. He was mixing odds and sods conveniently.
I just want to say I've got this image in my head now that I really hope that if Keith did see Star Wars, or if he was into Star Wars at all, that at some point he went on a massive bender with some Ewoks or something like that, dressed up as a stormtrooper in a stormtrooper outfit. Something wild like that, but that would make my day if there was.
I'm gonna push up my nerd glasses and say right now he definitely didn't see Ewoks.
Well, not Ewoks.
But you know what?
83, yeah.
He would have Keith. You would have loved the Mos Eisley Cantina. I bet it was very much like some of the shows they used to do back at the Gold Hawk.
Yeah, what's the little fellas is it the Jawas? The little fellas that attack.
But
they attack Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Paul, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is bonus content.
Yeah.
Did you say bonus or bogus?
bonus, bonus,
Right.
bonus. None of it's bogus. It's just this is behind a
Yeah.
paywall right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real treat for you Who nerds and Star Wars nerds.
See, but that's the
And
thing
the
now.
new
So I
Star
know
Wars
Dante
connection.
is. I know for a fact Dante is not going to be kept up at night with this too. So that has affected us with this. With this, did Keith see Star Wars? And does Tony Fletcher not know?
Because I know, it feels like Keith, like me at the time, would have made it his whole personality for Star Wars for a year.
I've got the Keith Moon book to hand. I'm tempted to look at the index to try and find Star Wars, but I'm not going to. That's
I
the.
can't believe of all the questions you could have asked Mandy, Paul.
Yeah, maybe I need to do a second interview and just ask the important questions like that.
Yeah.
Did Keith see Star? Yeah.
Dante, anything about sessions and demos you want to talk about before we move on?
Um, yeah, yeah. Like Ethan, didn't really listen to too much of the stuff that was already on I think it's the '96 CD because I've kind of heard it before. Did really like the fact that they put on the sort of live in the studio thing of Who Are You, which was in Kids All Right, and yeah, we get that piano bit. That's kind of a giveaway, I guess. Yeah, I like the John demos. I liked his demo of 905. I liked hearing the fact that the synth part is off the demo and the lyric changes, the differences were really interesting. I kind of liked, I can see why he changed certain bits, but there seemed to be like more of a story there. And I did wonder maybe at some point maybe he changed them because he had the whole idea about an entire album full of the stuff, and maybe he changed it because he had other songs that told a bit of that story in the other songs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, and yeah, the other ones, but Back on the Road and Wild Horses, I really liked. Good Time Coming, I can't really. I've only listened to this like a couple of times, so that one's not stuck out in my mind as much. But yeah, it's nice stuff. It's nice to hear John demos on a deluxe set, even though apparently, you know, they wanted to get the Pete demos, and maybe the John demos wouldn't have ended up on there if they had the Pete demos, but
Yeah.
John deserves a little bit of a spotlight on his demos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I really think like it makes me think of this new like Bruce Springsteen Nebraska box set that came out. Everybody in my world anyway was kind of like excited for the Electric Nebraska. We're finally going to get Electric Nebraska. And for my money, I turned on Electric Nebraska and I was like, eh.
There's a reason
Like
why this wasn't
there's a
released.
reason why like these people put out the things they put them out when they put them out, right?
Mhm.
So like 905, it's a great song. Had to chop out a verse, tighten it up. It's great. So these are really interesting historical documents.
And it's keep using the word interesting, but it's really interesting to hear his programmed drums on the demos as well, and got me
Yeah.
thinking how exactly you'd have done that in 1970, or some of them are from 72, aren't they?
Uh,
Two of the
I
demos, so
yeah, I was gonna yeah, if they were released on the Whistle Rhyme set, I was wondering like when were these, you know, when were these done?
and yeah, we mentioned a big anomaly. It's not on this disc, but there is a very small anomaly. Is that the version of Love Is Coming Down? I think the box set gives you impression it's the one from the '96 remaster, but it's actually not. It's a different version.
No, it isn't. Yeah.
But it's
Oh,
yeah, some interesting studio chatter at the start, which isn't clear. I can't clearly make out what they're saying, but it's nice to hear that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And not nice to hear Love Is Coming Down without the orchestra and just really sort of stripped back and yeah, it's just Roger on vocals, no backing, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to hear it that way.
Oh, and I'm a Love Is Coming Down nerd. I love that song because, like I said, I'm a dork. So hearing it with the orchestra and then hearing the two successive versions of it where they strip it down more and more actually makes it, it actually has sort of a much more emotional impact. Um, it makes it like I don't know, man. Like I said, I was listening to it and I started to well up a little bit because I love the song and I love as you take strip away all the embellishments at its core. It's a beautiful song, and people who don't appreciate it should appreciate it.
I feel attacked.
The safe space, Ethan. Don't worry, it's a safe space. Oh,
It won't be a safe space when we get to disc five. That's for sure. All right.
little clue to what's coming up. But
Yeah.
I've said before, yeah,
Foreshadowing.
yeah, going back to Love Is Coming Down. I've said this before, but I'm kind of surprised that Roger's never considered doing it during his solo
Right.
shows or even brought it back sort of later on because he's in his element with it.
Yeah, he is. Roger, why aren't we doing this song? You're right on that one. Agreed.
Yeah,
But
well,
it also seems to me like I'm thinking back to that '94 tour that Daltrey sings Townsend, and
Uh-huh.
I like that so much. And I know that when I was putting together like a Who's Next live thing before the Song Is Over tour, that's the only where you could get like a live The Song Is Over,
Yeah.
right? And it seems that those two songs in a Roger Daltrey concert setting would hold the same space. I think
hmm.
Okay.
they would fill the same need. That off the top of my head,
Yeah, and
why
Song is Over is the one that most fans know and like
and
it they like
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Um, well, let's move on to disc four. I think we're probably going to have lots of nice things to say about this one. Shepperton 77 rehearsals,
better. Hmm.
plus the first ever appearance of Who Are You live in Toronto,
Yeah.
1976.
I must have
Um,
heard that somewhere before a lot. I think I've heard that a
Uh-huh.
lot.
yeah.
I don't know.
Let's start with
Sorry.
you, Dante. What do you want to say about disc four?
I could say I'm going to try not to say too many things and take up loads of time because I could say so many things about this. This for me is like the best disc of the set. Um, like this has got all the really good moments that I've come, or a lot of them are really good moments that I've come back to. Obviously, you got the Who Are You thing at the beginning, which is a bootleg audience boot. Well, it's actually I think it's a different source from. It has been shared a lot, but it's a different source. I think it was someone in the crew that recorded it. Um, but then you've got the performances of songs, particularly like "Kids All Right," which is incredible to hear them do it in 1977.
Hmm.
Interesting, like if you get this on Spotify, it actually lists this as being 1978. A lot of the information on the Spotify thing is wrong.
Yeah, because
Um,
I think the stuff with Kenny Jones from live in '79. I think it's just listed on the streaming platforms as being from 2 gigs, but I think it's actually from three. So
yeah,
yeah, I think it is a bit. Yeah,
and and some of the Dance It Away is listed as Dancing Away. There's a lot of mistakes on the Spotify thing, but yeah, hearing the kids all right, and it was quite emotional hearing Keith play that like a song that he played right at the beginning of his career with the Who in 1965 and play it so close to the end of his life.
Hmm.
It made me really emotional hearing that and hearing him play pretty well on it. And I mean, it starts off with them doing it in a reggae style, and I was really worried that that was going to be the whole thing. And I was like, have they pranked me? Are they just going to do this half-assed joke reggae version? And then they go into the track, and it's a joy to hear them do it.
Yeah.
Run, run, run. They really sound good on it. Roger sounds great singing it, and you think, yeah, they could have done Run, Run, Run
Hmm.
later into their career, and it would have been great. You got a few, sort of goofing around ones. I saw standing there, but Barbara Ann. But it's great to hear them sort of tackling "Who Are You?" Bellboy's quite funny. You hear them sort of mess it up a bit, and Roger forgets where he's supposed to sing. Pete does a few
Hmm.
guitar flubs. I think Roger goes nearly at the end. Um, and then yeah, and the Won't Get Fooled Again is is maybe a little bit. Well, we'll go into the Won't Get Fooled Again thing later. And Drowned is pretty good, even though they are sort of playing around with it, and they go into the middle eight again at the end, and um, it's just great hearing them play, some songs that I never thought they were gonna. I didn't think they would, they were still doing Bellboy and Drowned, at that point, but I was absolutely shocked with Kids All Right and Run Run Run, and it's so fun hearing them play those songs.
yeah, and I know he doesn't get all the words right, but I was quite impressed. I mean, I don't know if this was the first time they played it for years, but it's quite impressed that Roger remembered the words to "Run, Run, Run."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the words he did remember anyway.
Yeah.
Bets, what about you? What do you want to say about this disc?
Again, Run was a really pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting that one at all. What a fun song version of that. Yeah, those were, if you know, those were kind of there's a poignancy to it, I guess. What could have what could have been, if September of '78 hadn't happened. They sound great, and they feel like they're having some fun. So yeah, like I said, it lends a little poignancy to it, like what we could have had, you know. That's where I'm at.
What about you, Ethan?
Um, the kid's all right. Like the first reggae version, like that was kind of cool just to hear them do it. I really like. I did do a little Wikipedia just to see when Roxanne came out, just to see if that wasn't like in the air, But it
Yeah.
wasn't. I think this was before that. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Um, so that was cool, of course. I saw her standing there was amazing. All we need is like now we need like the Beatles, doing My Generation or something. But like the second version of I saw her standing there. I want a whole album of this combo doing the songs with Keith singing, and in the middle, the other verse is like them slowing down and him talking the other verse. Like, well, she was just 17. I love that. I ate it up. That was great. The Jam knocking it into shape 1 and 2. Um, this is by far the best disc, like on the box set. This is like catnip, this whole thing. Um, and that's my, to the everlasting like legacy of the song Who Are You? You could listen to that knocking into shape, like both of those things. I could anyway, which is just basically like riffing on Who Are You like over and over again, getting the song to work. Um, Won't Get Fooled Again kind of sucks because it cuts off, right before. And I think if you listen to enough rehearsals of these things, you know, Roger never screamed at the end of Won't Get Fooled Again because, why would you? He's saving it up, right? For the
Yeah.
audience and stuff like that. Um, I believe, Paul, when I said I wanted to talk about this, I wanted to change the name of the whole box set to Drown 1978 and some other Who Are You stuff because I think Drowned is the best thing on the whole box set. Like, for some reason, I loved it. It was my favorite band of all time, just kind of like jamming out together. And for the most part, it stays in shape and then it goes off a little bit, but it's that beautiful noise is why I'm here. And I just loved it.
And I think
And
I
that is
might.
not a Robbie Robertson plug by any stretch of the imagination. That's when I wrote it in it.
I think I'm right in saying this is the first time they've played since that tour in '76 ended.
Kilburn was before this or after this?
I think Kilburn's a little while, a few months later. That's December, I think,
Yeah.
'77.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
July, I think.
They sounded better here than they did at Kilburn.
Yeah.
For
And
my
and it's interesting because they're not recording Who Are You by this point, I don't think. So with them doing Who Are You, I mean, they're rehearsing. I take it they're rehearsing to do some songs for the Kids All Right film at this point. But
I
they're
think
still
Barbara Ann is from that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are these all the same? Because it is. I'm a little bit confused whether these are all the same sort of sessions because at this point they haven't even recorded Who Are You, but they're still rehearsing it for possible
Yeah.
inclusion in the film, which is quite cool that they're thinking, this song hasn't even come out, it's not even a hit yet or anything like that, but we're going to be
Right.
rehearsing it anyway to record it.
But it goes to this thing I've been thinking about, which is like I've watched some George Michael documentaries recently, guys, so forgive me, okay? But from the very inception, pre-Wham, and I'm really sorry to like invoke these names here, people, but music is great. But pre-Wham, pre-George Michael, they had this song "Careless Whisper." They knew what it was going to be. They knew it. They re-recorded it. multiple times. It came to American. This is before Wham did anything,
Hmm.
and they knew that it was going to be called by George Michael. So he wrote it with the partner, but they weren't going to release it as
Mm,
Wham. They always knew that. At least that's what these documentaries say. So
mm,
when
Yeah.
you have a thing, right, and you know what it's going to be, I think they had that vibe with Who Are You?
Yeah.
So I
Agreed.
think, and I think it's probably like, well, we have the one song, let's go into the studio. So, I can
yeah.
see them
Mm,
from the second they have that jam to just working on it,
Yeah.
working.
Well, when Keith does the Shepperton documentary, where he they it's not really a documentary, it's a little news segment where they come like the Who has bought portions of Shepperton Studios, and here's their spokesman, Mr. Keith Moon, and he and the journalist get on that Winnebago, and Keith's like, oh hey, you want to hear our new record, and plays Who Are You, and it's like you have to remember like, oh, this wasn't even out yet, like the song Who Are You, it's like this isn't even like this is
mm.
not a thing. Like, people don't. This isn't the legendary song people associate with, the Who and CSI and that kind of thing. It's brand spanking new, and people are hearing it for the first time on this news show.
I just checked the book, and it's these are from two sessions, the 20th and the 21st of July.
Okay, yeah. So,
And I think it served two purposes. I think it was to get the ball rolling with the kids are all right, but also to basically rehearse with Keith again after so long.
mm,
I think
Yeah,
anyway.
and we know that's what I saw her standing there and Barbara Ann were all about, was to because he would play around for so long in California and stuff, and he didn't like to practice. So it was kind of like he'd forget how to play. So they bring him in and do all these fun songs that he enjoyed doing and get him back on track.
I wonder how long it took Pete to pull up his tab app to find I saw her standing there to get those chords so he could play the song. That took a while.
I will say the second version, I wrote in my notes, punk ass version. So, that little bit of that punk rock that they're all, Moon and Townsend hanging out with these punk rock kids, they're kind of getting a little influence there.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm Dante and Ethan, I'm
mm.
sure you've done this yourselves, but bands when they rehearse, they do piss about and they do silly versions of songs and covers, and it's just nice to hear the Who doing that.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, it's really fun. Like,
No, it's really
yeah,
great.
yeah, like with the reggae
Yeah.
kids, all right. Like it is fun to hear
Yeah.
that. I did worry that that was all it's going to be, but when they actually do that at the start and then they go into the real thing, it's like you get two for the price of one. You get a reggae
Yeah.
version and a proper version, and with the two I saw standing there, it's like, yeah, the Who were a funny band, so it's
Oh,
cool
yeah.
to hear them in some of these outtakes.
And just having fun together, right? Like,
Hmm.
just having fun together.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's just come to me now, but I like the idea of a Peter Jackson Get Back esque thing with these two sessions.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that's disappointing is that imagine if you had the video of all of this as well.
And all
Yeah.
the talking in between off
Yeah,
mic and all that kind of stuff.
John said about recording was they would get, it's time to record, so everybody meet up, and they said the first day they would all stand at the bar and drink and tell old stories and that kind of thing and have a blast. And he said the next day you'd come back and you drink some more, and then kind of make your way closer to the instruments, and then the third drink some more, and then but spend a little more time getting closer and closer. So you slowly eased your way back over to the instruments. It was a party where a concert broke out. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear those sessions, the bullshit sessions at the bar, because those are funny.
Well, that's the title for it, isn't it? The bullshit sessions.
Yeah.